One of my favorite parts of D&D is when you have a big boss fight. And these fights to me are so fun because they last a while, they're dynamic, they're fun, and it's just a great way for your character to show off all the skills you've gained against a strong, powerful boss. And to me, nothing is more satisfying than taking down one of these boss monsters with our character, absolutely dismantling them in a way that's just so satisfying. Today's character build is the Boss Killer. It is a build specifically designed to dismantle these bosses and take them down super efficiently. When I think of the Boss Killer archetype, the first thing I think of is the Elden Ring legend, Let Me Solo Her. This absolute madman went into Elden Ring, was summoned into boss fight to take out Elden Ring's strongest boss alone to help out other people. At this point, it's estimated that Let Me Solo Her has killed the Elden Ring hardest boss about 6,000 to 7,000 times, and that's what I want to try and emulate today. While we might not have the same armor set as him, with the head pot and about nothing else, we will have a very effective character at taking down these boss monsters, while we'll still be able to take care of every other monster we meet along the way. For this character build, the first thing I want to look at is our background, and we're going to start with the farmer background. This primarily gives us strength and constitution that we can invest our stats into, but more importantly, this is the only set background from the player's handbook that gives us the tough starting feat. Tough just gives us an extra 2 HP per level, which is really great and just gives us a bigger pool of HP. Really important going against these big monsters that hit hard is that we can stay alive. For our stats, strength and con are going to be our primary 2 stats. Tertiary is going to be a charisma, and after that is wisdom. Intelligence and dexterity are going to be kind of dump stats. For our species, the ones I am looking at are the species that give us a mobility option. We are going to be super effective at doing damage and at taking damage for this build. What we really need is a boost to our mobility for unique situations. So the ones I'm looking at for our species is going to be Aasimar, specifically because we can use our bonus action to be able to fly. This is a great flying speed and is just a great ability, taking just a bonus action. The other one I'm looking at is actually Goliath, because Goliath gives us a 35-foot movement speed, and the Cloud Goliath specifically gives us essentially a number of misty steps equal to our proficiency bonus, allowing us to teleport around using our bonus action. Both of these are good. Teleportation versus flying really depends which one you want. I think I'm leaning Aasimar. As for the leveling of this build, it is very straightforward. We are going to go all 20 levels into Paladin. At Paladin 1, we get Lay on Hands, Weapon Mastery, and Spellcasting. Lay on Hands is great utility. Weapon Mastery, I want to pick up 2 weapons in particular. The first is the Scimitar, as this gives us the Nick Mastery property, allowing us to make 3 attacks in a turn without having to use our bonus action. And our other weapon that I want to gain Mastery in is a Longsword or one of the other Longsword equivalents. I like the Longsword more than the actual other equivalents because Longsword has the Sap property, which gives us a more defensive benefit, though there is argument for all the other ones as well, so dealer's choice. Like you might have guessed for this build, we are going to be a dual wielder as we picked up the Weapon Mastery for the Scimitars. We're going to be dual wielding Scimitars for this level, and we're going to just use the Nick property to the max, trying to get as much damage as we can offensively. As for spell casting, there's one spell that we get at this first level in Paladin that we are going to use probably throughout our career because it's actually just that good of a spell, and that spell is Divine Favor. Now what the spell does is we use our bonus action, and for the next minute, all of our weapon attacks deal an extra 1d4 radiant damage. Now this is comparable to something like Divine Smite. Divine Smite does 2d8 flat. This one does 1d4 per attack. So after 4 attacks, we're doing more than Divine Smite. This spell is non-concentration, so it can't be broken, and it continues turn after turn for a full minute. So as long as we're getting at least 2 turns out of this fight, Divine Favor is going to be better than Divine Smite. And after the first turn where we set up Divine Favor, we can still use Divine Smite. At level 2 in Paladin, we pick up Paladin Smite. Now I think Divine Favor is going to be better on the first turn of combat, but Paladin Smite gives us a free cast of Divine Smite, and that's going to be great for any turn where we're not casting a Divine Favor. At this level, we also pick up our fighting style, and we are going to pick up the 2-weapon fighting style. This is going to allow us to do our strength modifier on our second Scimitar attack. Level 3 in Paladin, we pick up Channel Divinity, and we pick up our Paladin subclass, which gives us our Channel Divinity option. The Paladin subclass that we're going into is the Vengeance Paladin. And there are two big reasons we're going into the Vengeance Paladin over some of the other subclasses. The first one is our channel divinity, Vow of Enmity. Vow of Enmity gives us advantage on every attack against one specific enemy that we make it against. And it also doesn't take up action economy, so we can do this on our first turn, no time wasted, as long as we're making the attack action, which we should be on that first turn anyways. And nicely about this feature, once it drops, similar to Hunter's Mark, we can reapply it, though we don't need to use our bonus action to reapply it. The second reason that the Oath of Vengeance is also great is because we get Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark is the same as Divine Favor, but it does take up concentration, but in exchange we get 1d6, and it's only on one enemy at a time. Now what you might have noticed with this build is that Vow of Enmity and Hunter's Mark both apply to one enemy at a time, and this is the core of what makes us a boss killer. This makes us best against enemies that have a ton of HP and will last a long time in combat, allowing us to just keep mowing them down with these high power attacks, not having to waste any time reapplying them to multiple enemies. Even at level 3, we can make 2 attacks, each of them is doing a d6 from our scimitar, plus our strength modifier, plus a d6 from Hunter's Mark, plus a d4 from Divine Favor. That's already really good damage, and we get to make 2 of those attacks even at level 3, which is only going to get better from here on out. Once we hit level 4 in Paladin, we are going to pick up a feat. The 2 feats I'm looking at are Slasher and Dual Wielder. Now, Dual Wielder is the one I really want. It gives us 1 more attack from dual wielding, so even without extra attack, we get 3 attacks, allowing us to stack up even more damage on all of our attacks. This extra attack does use our bonus action from the Dual Wielder feat though, so it can be a little clunky and we have to wait until after we get all of our setup done to really take advantage of it. So if you think you're more likely to not get Divine Favor and Hunter's Mark all set up before you go for it, Slasher may be better just for a little bit more utility in what you're doing. Personally, I'm going to take Dual Wielder. We want more attacks to get more damage, and we are a boss killer. If this is a long drawn out fight like most boss fights are, we're going to get to take advantage of that really well. And at level 5, we pick up Extra Attack. Now, Extra Attack just gives us 1 more attack, which is great. So now at this level, if we took the Dual Wielder feat, we're up to 4 attacks per turn. 2 of those are with a longsword, and 2 of them are with a scimitar. At level 5, we also pick up Faithful Steed. This allows us to cast the Find Steed spell, which is amazing for our mobility. Now, the steed doesn't have flight at this level yet. That comes later with the Find Greater Steed, but that is why we took Asmar to get the flight. So now most bosses won't be able to get away from us. We're fast enough on our steed that we can always track them down, and we have flight. We're going to be able to do some crazy stuff with mobility that Find Steed enables us to just make sure we're always on top of the boss and can hit them as much as we want. At Paladin level 6, we get Aura of Protection. Classically, just great Paladin feature. And at level 7, we pick up our subclass Aura. This subclass Aura is kind of a pseudo sentinel that allows us to do really well with our opportunity attacks, moving around, gives us more mobility, and allows us to lock down a creature that we have pinned. This is great for our boss killer attitude. As we run up to a boss, we start smacking them. If they try to run away, we can use this Relentless Avenger to make sure we are always staying right next to them, consistently dealing our damage. The next level I'm really excited for is level 11 in this build, and that is because we pick up Improved Divine Smite. This adds 1d8 onto every weapon attack we make, and with 4 attacks per turn potentially, that's just a ton of extra damage. Right now, we have our longsword or our scimitar at base attack, plus 1d4 from Divine Favor, plus 1d6 from Hunter's Mark, plus 1d8 from Improved Divine Smite, plus advantage from our Vow of Enmity. So we are just going to be outputting so much damage super consistently. And from here on out, we kind of just keep doing the same thing, outputting a ton of damage against one creature, making it so that when we lock down one big boss monster, they're as good as dead. Let us know what you would do differently with your boss killer character build and how you would make it so much better. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.